Hey, what's up guys, it's Oakley, and you guys probably saw it already. I'm a little bit behind on the news, but the latest Blackfire Pass developer walkthrough just came out, and I was floored when I saw this. Of course, CA did make it abundantly clear that it is, pre-alpha footage. They said everywhere, plastered it practically all over the screen, that this is all scripted as well. But nonetheless, we did get to see a really nice view of the engine in progress, and really a nice view of the scenery, and most importantly, I wanted to see unit sizes, animation, and interaction. We got to see a lot of that, and there's a lot we can draw from the conclusions. And also some of the way the models behave, particularly flying units, we start to see that. We start to see here some of the pre-battle speeches. That's something that was confirmed by Angry Joe in an interview, that those will take place. But something I really wanted to see is how do flying units, play out on the battlefield. And here we can see it looks like they're kind of fixed at a certain height above the battlefield. And then we also get to see zoomed up views of the various units. Now, I was a little disappointed that we didn't actually get to see any of the standard bearers or musicians for any of the Empire troops. So we do see some variation of them, and they do have captains in the front, but really none of the fanfare and color and gallantry that I would have expected from the Empire troops. I really hope that's something they implement in the future, because they do look nice, but it's definitely missing that additional element that you get from the tabletops. Anyways, here again you can see Karl Franz and the Demigriff. This is sort of how your flying units will play out when they're stationary. They'll just be staying there, and then we see that also additionally from the enemy forces over there in the distance. And here the orcs are moving forward, and I wanted to stay a little bit on this screenshot as we see it moving forward. We're going to sort of replay this a couple times. The first thing that sprang to my mind here is they actually not only have variations in unit models, but also I slowed it down. If you take a look, there's also these particular gates actually vary between unit to unit. You'll see some of these trolls walking at different speeds than others, so I'm glad they're going for the differentiation in unit animation on the march as well, just to again add more variety. And then we start to see, again, the whole point of this playthrough is to see units in action, and this piece of siege equipment was really cool. It reminded me of the piece of siege equipment that the Mongols had access to in Medieval 2, and a lot of this gave me a very Medieval 2 vibe, especially with the cannons here. That's kind of what Empire is built off of, the Holy Roman Empire. Speaking of Medieval 2, this first, when they popped out of cinematic mode into this, just struck me as feeling very much like Medieval 2, mostly because of the flags and the banners making a return as opposed to the icons. I really prefer the flags and banners that you see here. Now, it could use a little bit more differentiation in terms of you can't really tell what these flags are from a distance, but then again, at the same time, I mean, look at this. It's clear that the spider is a spider, the giant is a giant, and the orcs are orcs. But also make note here that all the unit sizes are now, we can finally see, it's not just cinematic, we can see the individual units and we can pick out their sizes. So trolls having perhaps a dozen, and then individual units just being one giant mass. Here you can see the legendary warlord up in the sky, and then we see some bowmen down here. But as we pan over the forces, start to see a bit of the terrain and how these guys move forward. Again, keep an eye out for the change in gait and the way these guys walk. I thought that was just a minor little touch that hopefully they can tune in. And then I really like these guys, seeing them up close. They look super ferocious. The weaponry looks truly barbaric. And then finally we get to see the goblins up close. I really like, seeing, of course, two units together. And I wanted to pause the frame right here just so you can see a little bit of the details on the ground that you can see. So backdrop is really nice with the lava, but also close to the ground you can see already there's some chaos impaled figures on the ground. So I hope they really flesh out the fantasy element in terms of the terrain and really bring that to life and have the terrain tell its own story. Here we see a new type of figure, the spider troops, the small spider riders, and then the big one in the back. That was awesome to see in action, and I can't wait to see these guys fighting perhaps underground in the future. And then finally we get a nice pan of the scenery in the background, the Dwarven Karak on the left, and then here we start to see the armies. I wanted to pause it right here. We are panning over to a spellcaster. Note as well, not only this spellcaster, but also other spellcasters in the distance have a white light over them that allow you on the battlefield, it seems, to pick out those figures from a distance and be wary of them. And now we see Grimgor Ironhide. One of the things that CA did mention in a follow-up comment is that there are legendary lords, which is like Karl Franz. Then there are lords who are also immortal, and these guys will come in with their own customizable band of followers. In this case, Grimgor Ironhide has his elite bodyguard here, but it seems like as you unlock more abilities for those guys and more of their skill tree, they'll then be able to unlock different types of units. But like I said, that's for legendary lords and lords. It does not, however, count for heroes who are going to be individual units, and we'll see that in the future. Anyways, we're continuing to pan through the units, and perhaps the unit I most was excited to see was over here, the Goblin Doom Diver, and I really didn't expect to have the ability we see coming up. But again, I wanted to point out from this instance here, you can see the various beams of light pointing out where the mages are on either side. I think that's an important feature they added. And here the animations are very much scripted. You can see that they did say that pre-alpha footage, everything is basically scripted, so I wonder how much of this makes into the final game. But even this flying animation right here just totally brings it to life, so I can't wait to actually try this myself. You could see when they did fire this, it obviously didn't have a rangefinder or anything like that, so this points to it being very much pre-scripted and all that. But we'll definitely be seeing these guys, and Sia of course did confirm that you can control these guys like you're seeing here. And then we're moving over the terrain to see a different part of the battlefield, moving over to one of the spellcasters. Now, like I said before, this is most likely a hero. The hero does not actually get the warband that a lord or legendary lord does, so that is again another distinguishing feature to them. And you saw that previous guy was on a wolf. They said you can unlock mounts for those guys, so don't expect all your spellcasters to be mounted. Some of them will, and you can upgrade them to have different mounts. Speaking of the mounts, here's going to be the wolves finally in action. Sia has said these guys are supposed to function like light cavalry, so definitely you can see the lightning speed that they came up with here. Their charge wasn't that amazing. You can see the Empire troops holding pretty firm. Combat animations are okay. I really actually like that it's not match combat animations that allow the battle to take place a little bit more fluidly. Yes, it won't look the best, but it'll prevent weird shifting around from happening, so I'm happy to see that. Now we see even more cavalry coming over here, some of the Empire, the variety of the troops, so you have sort of Gunner Cav, then Heavy Imperial, Reichsland Guard, I believe, and then the Demigryphs that we've seen exhibited before, and again the bodies on the ground, just for more theme, and they show these guys here one after the other to show the variance in cavalry and unit types. Now, something you'll notice as well is when troops come up and shoot from a distance, you'll see a lot of these projectile trails. I imagine that's going to be in the final game, but it's an option that you can turn on and off just like you can now with projectile trails for arrows. It does look pretty ugly, but it does, from a gameplay standpoint, help you at least see what's coming at you. And here we see our first taste of magic in-game, and that was really cool. I don't know how far you can cast spells. It seems like this particularly deadly spell had to be relatively close range, so keep in mind that characters who are casting these spells, it seems like they don't have bodyguards, and on top of that they have a light over their head, so this devastating amount of damage dealt here should hopefully be a little bit easier to prevent and call out and actually try and find beforehand. And look on the left, that magician just disappeared once the Demigryphs moved in. So a little, of course the scripting going on here. They phased that guy out, it seems like. Oh no, he's running away in the distance. Anyways, here come the Demigryphs. They did mention, however, in the sort of talk through of this Blackfire pass, that I'm glad they admitted this up front, that this is definitely alpha, and that cavalry charges are, still in the works. So for example, here, the cavalry charging in did not look very impactful. They still have their combat animations which look nice, where they're leaping and bounding, which is awesome. It just didn't have the full impact that you would expect, and they say they're going to work on that, but I particularly prefer that. It kind of again reminds me of Medieval 2 as opposed to what we've been seeing too much of in Rome 2 and Attila, where they just bowl over infantry. But this I really like. The charging animations for these troops look amazing up and down the line. Yes, the charges are a little bit crazy, especially when you get to Grimgor Ironhide and his elite bodyguard. These guys have area effect, and they just destroy these lines, so I thought that was cool. There also are animations for troops bracing and receiving impact, so if you keep an eye on the line as the orcs charge and jump on the men, you'll see actually some of the Empire men try and charge up against them. Now some people have said they don't really like this because Empire troops are supposed to be disciplined and hold the line. Yeah, I don't know. I think they'll have to tone it back, but it definitely looks very, very cool. I love these combat animations. It's definitely a nice change from what we saw in Rome 2 and Attila, where oftentimes, in the midst of a charge, it would look really, really goofy. You'd have a big charge, and often in my machinimas, I'd have to cut away a special way to make it look cool, because it would just look terrible. It'd be like they stop, and then they awkwardly shuffle and blob, whereas here with these impacts you're getting, it looks very, very cool, but again, it's a very fantastical way to go about it. Trolls obviously doing a lot of damage, and then now the heavy troops moving in from the rear, so perhaps this is a strategy, but you can see, again, also more of the combat animations. I love how these flying units in the top are animated. Again, it's not particularly, yes, it is match combat, but they're not interacting super close. They're kind of like swinging at each other, and I'm glad they're going that route with the animations. I really prefer that. I think, a couple match animations here and there, but for the most part, I like the way they're doing attacking in certain places, towards where your enemy is. And it seems to play out pretty seamlessly. One of the Goblin Wyverns was taken out, and here's another one. It's actually going to take a full volley, it seems like, but not go down, and then it's going to come down. And here we see the ability of flying units to come down on the ground and attack units on the ground. This is something they've said that you can, when so you fly up in the air and then you choose where to land, and it'll do an area of attack. So we're seeing a lot of these area of attack things go down. You saw Grimgor Ironhide with his big hammers, then you saw a bunch of the trolls, then now you see the flying units coming in, so a lot of area attack. I wonder how that's going to play out for gameplay. And again, here we see two of the heroes from the Empire side, so a Witch Hunter and a Warrior Priest. Again, keep in mind these guys don't have bodyguards, but once more we do nonetheless see, you know, some of the area effect circles coming out where they do their impact. It looks kind of goofy, so just like with Projectile Trails, I imagine you'll have a way to turn that off. And now we see this amazing contraption that CA actually did a spotlight video on. You should check it out. But yeah, it looks devastating, and they did state that this thing is super powerful but has a long recharge rate, and you have to watch out because it could actually hit your own troops. Now what I'm wondering is what happens if you have a siege and you place that thing at the entrance to your gate, or a steam tank. I really look forward to having sieges where you can kind of camp out with the Luminarch. And here you see another one of these massive magic spells, the Foot of Gork. The combat animation looked a little goofy, but I like how the tank corpse is left over. So that thing, again, another high area of effect. And again, another unit with high area effect. I don't know, I kind of like how the units are being flailed around with ragdoll effects. And here, yeah, getting flung around. And then take a look at this animation. The spider eats a guy and spits out the shield and sword. Now, a lot of these are customized scripted animations, but hopefully we'll see more of them come into effect in the game. I'm imagining they're going to vary up the amount of, you know, matched animations versus general area of attack that you'll be seeing. So for instance, here when you go over here, the troll actually spent more time than I expected scooping up one man at a time and eating him. I didn't think it was actually super effective. You'd imagine he'd be going around with his club doing more damage, you know, wielding that around, leaping and bounding. But apparently that is, I think, something you can do. I think it would probably be like an alternate attack. And then here over here, take a look at this. You see Karl Frentz having landed and engaged with the foot troops. Another combat animation. So we're seeing more of those up and down the line, and they seem, again, awesome, but they are very situational. And I hope, you know, in certain situations, it doesn't glitch out the game or cause it to mess up substantially. But anyways, that's going to be it. They're going to end the Blackfire Pass demo here. I think it was overall a really great demo. I like how they're forthright with it being pre-alpha, being forthright with how it was scripted, and overall I really like the feel of the game. It feels very much like a Warhammer Medieval 2 setting with the game mechanics and all that, and I really like the way it's going. Anyway, stay tuned for more. I haven't done too much analysis of this. I'm kind of in a weird transition phase where I've started work and all that, so it's taking a lot out of me. But yeah, I'll try and stay up with the news and cover more for you guys in the future. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace out.